Hey, you beautiful humans. So today what I want to do is I want to show you in this video how to make $100 a day with a low ticket product. There's been some people that have hit me on LinkedIn with like, this isn't possible. You need to do sales calls. You have to do outbound outreach and all of that. And, you know, in my world, I'm not saying that it doesn't work. It's just not a way of doing things that is aligned with the business that I want to run, right? So I've recently had a daughter and I am a husband, and, you know, I want to be a present dad and a partner, and I want to have a little more fun. So, you know, if it means slowing down a little bit and not having to take sales calls like, you know, hustle culture style, booking everything left, right, and center, I'm very, very happy with this model that I have created here, because essentially what these other people do is like they'll post on LinkedIn, for example, and then get a lead to become a client, right? So you have a lead, and then it becomes a client through a sales call, through a DM process, through all of that. All I'm doing is creating a customer here, and I do this with a very simple funnel that I'm going to show you today, right? So this extra step, yes, slows down things, but then what I focus on as a writer, as a creative, is create posts that send people to this funnel, and then the conversion happens. So on that note, you know, before we get into the nitty gritty, I just wanted to show you over here. So this is basically what happens, you know, if we do week to date, you can see roughly 969. So it does bring in approximately 50 to $100 per day. You know, if I go to yesterday, where is it? Sorry, or today, for example, it has been 112. It's March 23rd right now as I am showing this. So, but you can also see like month to date, for example, and then the previous 90 days, and the numbers go up and so on and so forth. Now, these are the numbers where you can see the transactions that are derived from, for example, today. Let's ignore this figure here because I recently shifted to not ConvertKit, but you can see that I gained 9 new subscribers today on a Sunday on the 23rd of March. And then that turned into the transactions that I showed you here today, right? So 112 made today. So that is a pretty good conversion if you think about it, right? Like a total of 4 transactions from the 9 subscribers that have come. So it's not a matter of big numbers here. It is a matter of who is joining the list and how they're joining. Like you see, my email list is not crazy big. I don't do sponsorships or any of that. I just write story-driven emails to get to the outcome that we want, right? So that is the dashboard. That is sort of the proof behind the scenes. So on that note, I want to move in to show you the strategy behind what it is we are doing, right? So I've pre-doodled this a little bit here just to get us into the zone. But how this journey starts is, you see this little logo here, that's the LinkedIn logo. So you can pick whatever it is you want and whatever floats your boat. For me as a writer, I prefer text. A lot of other people like Instagram or YouTube or whatever the platform is. For me, I like LinkedIn because it's super easy to write simple text posts every day. And the numbers that you saw, so when we looked at my ConvertKit, we had 9 people opt into the list today. This is a deliberate style of writing, right? So when I write posts, I'm not going to get into the content strategy of that today, but it is at the core misconceptions and storytelling. So I know my avatar inside out. I know what their false beliefs are, their misconceptions, their problems, their pain points. And instead of writing educational content, I write story-driven content with a very simple call to action, which I will show you, that gets them into the funnel that we're going to talk about in a second. So for example, if we look at this from 2 days ago, I used to post 7 times a week. Every single day, but wrongly. Woke up, wrote a banger, hit publish, hoping clients would notice. Someone would reach out. the posts would finally lead to sales. I'm not going to read the entire post, but essentially it is a story of what my life used to be. And then I made some changes. And after making those changes, I didn't need 100K followers or selfies in Bali or these leadership style billboard tips. Make this change. All I needed was whatever it is I'm talking about here, the content shift. And then I say, join 4,700 coaches who got their offer doc template by clicking visit my website at the top. And tomorrow I'll tell you something in my email, right? So this performed relatively well considering my size audience, which is 45, 46K. But then they come here and they click visit my website to enter this little funnel, right? So just again, to make sure this is the size of my audience. I used to build it the wrong way and go viral and all of that sort of stuff. Nowadays, since I've cracked this little thing, I hit visit my website and write these story-driven posts like this is today, right? So this is the post that got the 9 here, right? So if we go here, last year I made a costly mistake. I created too much how-to content. Instead of doing all the how-to, I should be doing something else that tackles what I showed you as a misconception, right? And sticks to the story-like driven format. Everything tanked, but my 5 to 6K months became 30 to 40K months. Since then, I never looked back. If you want buyers instead of viewers without sales calls and outreach and all of that, I have something for you in tomorrow's email. You can join and also get a free offer doc template by clicking visit my website at the top. So they click that, right? It's a very similar call to action. This one performed less well than the other ones in terms of reach, but it converted from 9 of those people who opted in. We got 4 of them to transact, right? So again, I've been doing this for a long time. It doesn't mean that you need a big audience. Some of my students also work this out fairly quickly with a smaller audience, but it does show that this works, right? So what happens essentially here is I've got this community over here, right? So I don't want to get into the showing of what it is because this is not me trying to sell. It's just purely demonstrating. But inside my community, I've got this little offer blueprint, which is a module, right? And this little module is basically recycled. I didn't create anything from scratch again. It is a pre-validated concept that I grabbed, right, and created a front-end offer for $47, right? That's what you can see here. It says core product on the front end. This first little box, right, has a front-end product, which I grabbed from my Modern Maker community. It's something I've just recycled. It was an old workshop. And then once they come from LinkedIn into my funnel that you've seen by clicking visit my website, I present them with a $47 product. Now that could be $7, could be free, could be $100. I've tested lots of them and there's loads of people absolutely crushing it with $7 products or $500 products. It's just, for me, this little visual is what matters. And for today, we're focusing on the left side, on the front end in this video. We don't want to talk anything back end. Maybe I might do another video. If it's interesting to you, you can let me know in the comments below about what this part looks like. But for today, we're only talking front end. So what happens from LinkedIn, you've seen the post, they opt in and they're presented with this core product, right? So it is an insight-based lead magnet. It presents them with a solution. If people want to buy it, they do. If they don't, happy days. I still write daily emails and that is my primary domain. However, once they have opted in, they get this little welcome email here, which is number 1. It says, welcome, this is who I am in case you don't know me, etc. And I passively remind them of this $47 product again. And then on day 2, I send them another automated email. If there's only 3, I don't do these like crazy long-winded sequences where this second email is mostly saying like, hey, this is what's inside the product. In case you want it, you can have it. And then day 3, I'm going sort of, this is the last time I'm going to annoy you about this product, right? But if you want it, here it is. So 3 little emails, 1 little core product right here that I sort of did a workshop on last year, and it's bringing in all of this stuff. Now, the catch is, what I showed you today. So that was the post. Those were the transactions. There you go. So you can see some of these Thrivecart orders are $47 like we saw. But what I am doing is, that's really cool that we noticed that. So the post today went out approximately 4 hours ago. So that was 12 p.m. my time. Now it's 4 o'clock as I film this video. And these little sales came in at 2 p.m. and at 9 a.m. So that must have been from the previous day. So you can see that in real time, this is what is happening. So the other catch is, right, let's say 100% of the buyers are buying the $47 product. What you see here, hopefully you can see the little dot here, right? So that is a little upsell. What I do is I've been toying lately with some upsells. So you buy this first product. If you want an upsell, I'm just presenting it at the point of checkout. No hidden stuff, nothing like, pushing down your throat. I'm just saying you can have this if you want. They check the box. Now this little upsell is worth $100. So what is happening is about 30% of those people may buy the 147, right? Like dollars worth of the product. So even though we're going for 47, that little upsell, 30% of those buyers on a daily basis might have that. So I might come with $147 transactions. Now that is the second upsell over here. So we've talked about the core product. We've talked about the upsell. Now what I do inside the product, right, is I always have a what's next. Like I thank the people who buy the product. I say, thank you very much. It was great having you. You might be thinking, what's next? Now, inside of that, I know it's called an upsell too, but it is almost like a downsell, right? Because they've just bought the 100 as well. Or if they haven't, it is in a close range where I say, people who usually got this core product may need this next product. It's almost like a thank you next campaign. So what I do is inside of the product, I say, here's the natural next step that you can take, which is priced at $49. And it approximately, gets 10% of these people to buy, if we think about it. So what this process does is essentially, if we think of the average order value, the per customer, that means how much they are spending. That is approximately $200, right? If we do the math. So I can go anywhere between $47 to $200 per person on the front end once this funnel is set up. So that is basically how I make anywhere between $50 to $100 per day, if not more on some days, by writing text story-driven posts about misconceptions on LinkedIn on a regular basis, about mistakes that I've made, about false beliefs that clients have, that I used to have. I'm really, really open about the way that I write. I don't do any of that how-to stuff, even though I used to. It really didn't convert anything in my audience, so it felt like I was wasting my time. This way, and have things like 9 people opt into the list and have, close to $100 days, if not more on some days, by having one core product, one upsell, and then a second upsell inside the product. So, this shouldn't be complicated. And in my audience, like, the product has to do with creating an offer, as I showed you. As a business consultant myself, I help a lot of people package their offers. It's something I'm really passionate about. And it is also a thing that inside my product program happens very regularly. So I know it's like a pre-validated concept. So what I would do if I were you is look at your assets, look at what clients ask you, see what sort of answers you give to your clients on a weekly or daily basis and pick that little product, right? So because we're recycling, there's my little doodle of the product that you pick. Once you've picked that product, you can like create a checkout page if you want to, or even before that, you can validate it. If you're on Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, whatever platform, like create a little poll, like, would you be interested in a product that solves this thing? You know, on Instagram stories, you can get a quick yes, no. On LinkedIn, you can get a quick yes, no, or whatever the platform is. So I'm going to do a little poll step here to validate. Get a checkout page and then, you know, write emails, or sorry, in this case, posts that give context to that product. And then the third step is essentially you're making money. This isn't exactly for beginners, but hopefully it gives you a little bit of insight on the model that I have created that helps me sort of make $100 on average per day with a low ticket product by converting leads to customers and then to clients. But we didn't get into the client territory today. All I wanted to show you was sort of this customer little mini funnel. So hope you enjoyed it. If you have, let me know what you thought in the comments below. You can hit subscribe. I'd really appreciate it, as trying to slowly grow this channel, and I'll see you in the next one.